Lunar Charge is really bad, but Ineffa is really good. You look at the damage contribution, she's doing about as much as Neuvillette. 40k DPS is coming from the fucking Ineffa A1. That's insane. No shot that A1 survives, dude. I feel like that's, yeah. I feel like it's not happening. We're gonna do so much Ineffa TC today. I hope you're ready. So they have we have gotten the full formula for lunar charge stuff. But yeah, so base damage is 2604. Everything else works the same way we expected to, or we had been told earlier. One thing though is this, right? Direct lunar charge damage is 3 times attack multiplier for some reason, and it ignores defense. So Ineffa's 80% motion value on her Ascension 1 passive is the equivalent of a 500 motion value, by the way. Yeah, it is. It doesn't get increased by damage percent though, but still. Defense is 50% damage reduction, yep. But yeah, so that part is like actually kind of broken, but lunar charge is like really ass to make up for it. Anyways, so you got base attack, attack percent, flat attack, total attack, EM multiplier, 6.0 artifacts are out. I saw this shitty translation yesterday. Is there a better translation now? It was in the comments? Okay, yeah. So what the fuck is when the new moon rises, by the way? Wasn't this confirmed fake? Was it? Oh, cooked. Never mind then. I mean, we can do calcs assuming this is real. Like, it is what it is, you know? The set will probably be about as good as that. And we can assume that when the new moon rises basically just means if it's an all-cry character. Kind of like Night Soul mechanics on not lone characters. Okay, so we got effective attack, LC damage. We got motion value, attack, LC, motion value, and then number of LC, and then you got damage. Alright, so let us take a look at her stats. 330. So for weapons, we can look at a few different things. We can look at Missive Windspear. We can look at Deathmatch. We can look at Ballad of the Fjords. So this is 5, they're all 510 now except Deathmatch. So 330 plus 510, 454. Alright, attack percent. What do we have? We have attack, main stats on the goblet, for sure. We have 20% from substats. What team should we look at? What's a team that you would play with her? Neuvillette? Let's do Neuvillette. So, Neuvillette, Varena, probably just Shilonen. Auron? You guys are stupid as hell. Why the fuck would you want to play Auron there? I think we'll look at this one. Okay, in a team like this, no one else is on TOM. No one else is on Noblesse. So there's not that many external attack buffs. EM, about 80 from subs, plus 96, and then plus 120. I don't know why you guys want to put Fischl in a team like this. What is the upside of adding an Electro unit? Plus like 3% to your lunar charge damage? Ooh. Yeah, multiplier, damage percent. In a team like this, you got Farina, you got Cinder City, so great value. Wouldn't Kazuha be better? Why? What exactly would make Kazuha better? Okay, he can swirl both elements. Why is that something you want to do? Personal damage, yeah, no. Anyways, 98.4, 62.2, 20 times 6.6. Oh yeah, we'll assume that that leak was real, by the way. So we add 96 EM, or 95 EM, and we add 32 times 1.75, and then yeah, that's it. How to get Missive Windspear? You can't. It was an event weapon. Okay, effective attack, total attack, times crit multiplier, times 1 plus damage percent. Effective attack lunar charge, total attack, times EM multiplier, times crit multiplier. Lunar charge damage, or personal contribution, is going to be 2600... Is it 04 or 05? 04. 2604 times EM multiplier times crit multiplier. And then your total lunar charge damage is going to be like 40% more than that because of Neuvillette stats, more or less. Motion value attack, 217.6. Motion value lunar charge. Oh, wait, no, that's not it, actually. Motion value lunar charge is 80% times 3 for some reason, times 10. Number of normal lunar charges is just going to be 10. I don't know if you really can do a 20-second rotation with this. Probably not, but for now, we'll keep things simple. Probably a 3 CA rotation. But yeah, so her total DPS, including the lunar charge damage, in a team like this is at about 40k. Which is actually pretty good, right? The thing is, if you remove the lunar charge reaction altogether, she's still at 30k. Like, the lunar charge reaction is not doing that much, right? She's good because her numbers are good, not because lunar charge is good. Her A1 slaps, yeah, her A1 is actually fucking insane, right? Like, remove that Ascension 1 passive from 40k to 20k. It's half of her damage. Like, it's an insane passive. Like, I think it does more for your team DPS than Fischl E4 usually does. It's insane. Yeah, this is with a hit every 2 seconds. As an assumption. It might be a little bit, it might be like 1.8 or 2.2, I don't fucking know, but is this another Neuvillette buff? It sure is looking like it, yeah. Does this team reach 100k DPS? That's a good question. I think it might. Does a rotation work with 3 charge attacks, or are we cooked? Do we only have time for 2? I gotta check. Her animation time is somewhat similar to Raiden, so we'll just use Raiden as a placeholder. That's pretty much a 21 second rotation with 3 charge attacks. That's doable. ER requirements are gonna be a bit higher though. A decent amount higher actually. Actually, no, they're not, now that I think about it. Because you can just do this. My birds didn't go through, but whatever. No, you can't do that. Nah, whatever. Maybe you alternate between a 2 charge attack and a 3 charge attack rotation. That's probably the play. And then you actually can do like exactly a 20-second rotation. Well, a 40-second double rotation. Where you do Neuvillette T, Brina, EQ, this. Well, that's cringe. It's really annoying because I keep getting fucking staggered trying to figure out what the rotation would look like. Why not the 26, 28 second 4C rotation? Because Ineffa cooldown doesn't line up well for that. Trigger passive for an Lunar Charge Cloud, do you need both Hydro and Electro to coexist for some time, or just triggering EC for a few frames is enough? EC doesn't trigger. When you have Hydro and Electro on an enemy, it triggers Lunar Charge, and it does Lunar Charge damage, and then the auras stay there. They don't get consumed by Electro Charge because Electro Charge isn't happening. And if they're still there, they haven't decayed naturally. By the time it's been 2 seconds, it'll do Lunar Charge again and eat the aura from triggering Lunar Charge. From what I understand, Lunar Charge eats aura in the same way that Electro Charge does, but slower. So it'll be easier to keep uptime on enemies, even if your Electro and or Hydro application is slower. Like, from what I understand, Ineffa by herself should be enough Electro for permanent Lunar Charge uptime, as long as you have enough Hydro. And getting enough Hydro isn't that difficult. But you can't start adding other chain reactions, or other reactions that are going to remove the auras, because then that's when you start losing Lunar Charge damage. Although I guess I am kind of curious what happens if you add a Fischl in there and you on-field a Pyro unit. Because then that would remove the Electro through triggering Overload and reapply the Electro from Fischl Ascension 4 passive. And I'm kind of curious to see if that additional Electro application resets the Lunar Charge timer. If it does, you would be able to hit with Lunar Charge more often. I don't know if that's the case. I guess that's actually a good question. Because if it does, that could be nice. The problem is that Lunar Charge is such a fucking dog shit reaction that I feel like it doesn't really matter. Like, unironically, alright, like, so far, the biggest takeaway from all of this bullshit is that, honestly, Lunar Charge is really bad, but Ineffa is really good. -1 raid? What, did Nick want a raid and then he realized I was talking about leaks and then he was like, wait, I can't? Yeah? That makes sense.
I'd raid Zaj, but I think he's doing fucking leakers, bro.
I'm not talking about leaks. I don't know what you mean. We're doing some completely normal gameplay with Raiden as a taser support for Neuvillette. It's true. It's true. How good is, wait, let me change the title. Raiden support for Electro Charged. Big Raiden support for Electro Charged TC Day. There you go. Listen. We fixed it. We fixed it. Oh, okay, never mind. It's too late. He already ended stream. Cooked. We'll make it good, just reducing the interval, yeah. Or increasing the numbers. Or making it so that it scales with the same EM scaling as, like, Electro Charge or other such reactions. Anyways, I'm really not sure what the rotations are gonna look like, but I think you really want to do 20-second rotations or less, because you want full uptime on Ineffa. Her Ascension 1 passive is way too broken to miss out on uptime on it. Like, her personal damage is higher. Well, okay, this is not her personal damage, this is including the Lunar Charge damage, but the Lunar Charge damage mostly looks at her stats, so it's basically her personal damage, right? It's at 40k. This is higher than Escafie by, like, I noticed. This is Escafie Escoffier with Shenhe on the team. Like, in an Ayaka team where you get an insta-refresh 10 quills per 20-second rotations on Escoffier, right? Like, this is really good for personal damage. Anyways, HP percent, 46.6%. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's 106k DPS. But that's fake as hell, because I didn't include ER requirements, and I'm not sure what the ER requirements look like, because I still haven't figured out what the fuck you're supposed to do with your rotation. Here's the thing, though. She's a shielder, which is really nice for C0 Neuvillette. Are her ER requirements that important? They're not that big of a deal, but not getting the EM buff makes her own personal damage a lot lower, right? From 37k to 33. I guess it's not that big of a difference, actually. Yeah, okay, sure. New set, sus leak. No, that's not the set you use. I did use a set from the sus leaks, but I use the damage set, not the support set. The support set is dog shit on her. She is not a character whose main purpose in a team is to buff. She's a character whose main purpose in the team is to deal damage. You look at the damage contribution, she's doing about as much as Neuvillette. Right, like this is Golden Troop not better? No, not at all. Golden Troop on her is complete garbage, right? We can take a look at what her personal damage would be if we use Golden Troop instead of that new leaked set. 10k less DPS. It's like not even remotely fucking close. Like, not even remotely fucking close. You look at her SIG weapon. Sure, I'd be happy to. So, with this here, make sure that we are still looking at the right thing. If we look at EM on Neuvillette, yeah, okay. We can look at her SIG. Fractured Halo. 608. Crit. That's not that big of an upgrade on this team. Res Shred. Res Shred is accounted for here, right? This is the 1.13. This is the resistance multiplier with Shilonen. This is assuming R1. Battle Pass weapon. We can look at R5 as well, if you want. R5 is just double the attack, and that's the only difference, right? Yeah, okay. This makes a lot more sense. There you go. Okay, so the SIG on her is about a 10% team DPS increase. That makes sense. But keep in mind, these numbers are fake. I didn't account for Ineffa ER requirements, okay? Keep that in mind. They are fake numbers. But still, the reason why I wanted to do Neuvillette first is because Neuvillette is like, if your character whose main purpose in a team is to be dealing personal damage is doing about as much DPS as your Neuvillette in a Neuvillette team that is built around Neuvillette, it means they're good. It means that with characters that are not Neuvillette, when you're looking at Hydro or Electro carries, like Sino, like Chlorinde, and honestly anyone but Varesa, let's be honest, Ineffa is probably going to be out-damaging your carry. Oh, I just realized I forgot the fucking times 1.14 multiplier. Oopsie. There you go. This is what it would be. No, Mkhan, you cannot trigger regular Electro Charge in an Ineffa team. Her Electro Charge to Lunar Charge conversion is not something that happens after she uses an ability. It's something that she has as a default passive. It's on this passive. I don't know why it's not here, but it's on this passive. Okay, there is one thing I'm not sure about, right? If you have two characters, right? One that has, I don't know, EM multiplier, crit damage on a normal, damage on a crit, right? Let's say you got 200 EM, crit damage, I don't know, fucking 150%. Your damage on a crit would be 2604 times EM multiplier, damage on a non-crit, sorry. Damage on a crit would be 2604 times EM multiplier times 1 plus crit damage, right? And then you have another character who has more EM, but less crit damage. How exactly does it determine which of the two is the higher damage? Assuming that they both crit, it's straightforward, right? It'll be this plus half of this. But what if this one doesn't crit and this one does? Is it gonna do still this character plus half of this character? Or is it gonna do this plus half of this? I don't know. Literally this. Okay, what is bro? The first character, okay. So according to this, it actually compares their damages at the end, right? That's what you're saying, Squidly? Yes? Okay. Alright, but thank you. That means that your optimal crit ratio on Lunar Charge is not going to be 1 to 2 anymore. It's going to be like 1 to 2.05 or some shit. Because you get most of your Lunar Charge damage as long as one of the two character crits. The two main ones, at least. That's funny. Like, I'm actually kind of wondering if the optimal team for her would just outright be on fielding her with Bennett or Yansan, or both. Because she actually does enough damage that I feel like that kind of makes sense. Calc Varesa? We can quickly Calc Varesa, sure. What else? Oh, actually, something that I think a lot of people aren't gonna realize, because LC ticks slower than EC, it means that it will be easier to refresh your VV, because your Electro Aura is gonna stay on enemies slightly more consistently. So swapping out of Varesa to go refresh your VV is gonna be very easy. Anyways, 860.8. Alright, that gives you total damage of about 106k. That makes sense. Okay. So that's that. Now we can take a look at Ineffa instead. So, the Eonsan thing gets taken out. We lose Cinder City. Eonsan C2. Eonsan Flat Attack. Eonsan C6. That's all the things we lost. 30k less damage on Varesa. And we're changing the way that the reaction works. So, we gotta change that. Number of lunar charges is gonna be 10 for everything. That's a bigger number. That's a bigger number. So, Ineffa's numbers are actually good enough that even with the best Electro carry, her personal damage provides about as much value as Eonsan's buffs do. Yeah, this is C6 Eonsan. If you don't have Constellations on Eonsan, it's going to be noticeably better. This is with the assumption that the new set leak is real, by the way, though. So keep that in mind. The new set leak is very sus right now. And if you're looking at the best performance with the currently available sets, right? It's worse. Her personal damage tanks like crazy. Still about as good as Eonsan though. But man, you're gonna look at Ineffa in spread teams later. There's no point. Ineffa is bad in spread teams, right? This is her personal damage in a taser team. And what I'm about to show you is the personal damage if you don't keep Electro, like if you don't keep Hydro and Electro on the enemies. It goes from 39k to 11k. Yeah. What about Hyperloom? Same issue. You need to keep Electro and Hydro on enemies. So anything that wipes the Hydro will fuck you over. You might be fine if you have fast Electro with a Pyro. Like, you might be able to play her with Fischl, Hu Tao, Ping Tao, but I need to see some footage of how that works. What about Superconduct? Will low cryo work? It'll work the same way that Pyro could work, but I need to see some footage of that before I'm confident on things like that. I do want to take a look at how good is her charge attack. You guys think it's a lunge charge attack like Xiangling and Hu Tao, or slash like Raiden and Escoffier? Do we know? It's a slash? Ooh, that's good. Because I was thinking, right? If you're playing her in a team where you try to maximize her damage, you probably on-field her with Bennett. But then, you know, she's a character that builds attack, doesn't go Electro Goblet, and gets a lot of EM. So, like, you can use her Pyro-infused charge attacks and react that shit, you know? Like, that'll be pretty good. Alright, and finally, Bennett damage is gonna be like fucking 1500. I can't be bothered calcing it. So you're over 100k with Ineffa carry. Chat, I've just had an even worse idea. So this is a little bit worse, but not that much worse. And it's probably better if you have a better Ineffa build. Man, 40k DPS is coming from the fucking Ineffa A1. That's insane. No shot that A1 survives, dude. I feel like that's, yeah. I feel like it's not happening.
Deuce on the loose!
Yeah.
Deuce on the loose!
Deuce on the loose!